Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. And we are going to play a little bit of cat and mouse at the end of this battle. But let's see how it goes beforehand. I'm in my Type 57, which is a Tech Tree Tier 8 Japanese Heavy. The new Japanese Heavy line, which has been out for a while now. I've got Hardening, I have a Rammer, and I've got a Turbski all bounty stuff. We're going to head over to the north side of this map. I meant to look up... Turn the noise down a little bit. I meant to look up the win rate on this map. Actually, it's something I want to try to add into my repertoire, because some of the maps are so insanely imbalanced. It's pretty funny. And as I recall, I think Pearl River is one of the bad ones. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm on the good side. I don't know. I might pause this at some point. We could just keep talking about it and pretend like we know. That is one option. We'll just get out of my way, Devil or Roger Man, Stidgy. Oh, it's Davy. It's Davy. I call them Devil. So this is the heavy brawl over here. You can see that this is an all tier 8 battle. There is no artillery. That is very nice. And I feel like we have a decent setup here. Not too bad. I mean, they've got the Skoda. He ends up having a really good game. 112, they're kind of indifferent on that. IS-3 can be a problem if you let it be. The T-26E5 doesn't hit very hard, but it shoots fast. And then the 7501 can have some pretty good armor. You're going to note that I have some serious issues penning people today. At least initially. I have a pretty good game. But we get to the cat and mouse towards the end. But first thing I wanted to talk about is... I feel like I'm seeing this more. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm noticing it more. Who knows? But... if you go to the place, the flank, and you don't see anybody, where do you go? What do you do? Initially, I thought about, well, let's just swing around somewhere else. But we're missing quite a few heavies. If you look at the top stack of their heavies over there, we're still missing the IS-3, T-26, T-34, 7501. So there could be, and Jagdtiger could push up, who knows? Don't really expect the RHM or the Scorpion. Maybe the Vipera. Actually, the Vipera has been seen. He's way over there, so no factor. So this is one of those things where I'm sitting going, I am not sure. So you can see I'm thinking about turning around, and then they show up. So I'm glad I didn't bail out of it. We have them stuffed on this corner. Good and bad. Good and bad. We have them all in one place, but there's a lot of guns sitting there. I'm a little bit worried about the guys coming down on top of us, so to speak. So we'll just come in here and we're going to get a free shot. Watch this. It's amazing. Just like right in here and... boom! Yeah, great. Aimed right at the aimed at the very middle and managed to hit some of the toughest armor in the game. How about this guy? Boom! Nope. Nope. Even though he's pointed downhill, there was a bit of an angle in both directions, and I don't get anything out of it. So the 100-01's trying to side scrape. I'm looking for an opportunity here. There you go. Oh, not quite. Not fast enough. Problem with a brawl like this and bouncing or missing a couple early on, if they're hitting and you're missing, you're losing the HP fight. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks here, and we have 3. So starting to lose the HP fight in this situation is extremely dangerous. As a matter of fact, if they were any kind of smart, they would all come boiling around this corner and just absolutely waylay us. The Jagdtiger is a casemate. He's got limited capability. The 100-01 fires forever. Even though it hits hard, it's not that hard compared to some of the other tanks, and he's already at 900. They come boiling around this corner with the HP advantage they've created already. It's over. So I'm just glad they didn't. Boom, auto pen. Nice. All right, 361. T-34 has a very weak hull. And boom. Oh, geez. All right, great. A ricochet. Okay, so did I not just pen the same angle a moment ago? I think so. Very frustrating. And we'll just hit him. No. No, we'll go into the... I'm having a hard time, fellas. I'm having a hard time here. We are definitely losing the HP fight right here. And here comes the 112. And honestly, if they just come around the corner, very surprised they didn't come. They're just so afraid of a 100 hit point. Nobody wants to get hit by the 100-01. This is just classic. It is absolutely classic. Now, here's a classic stupid move by me. I got my damage, but I also got tracked, and I also ate 4 shots in a row. Great. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Okay. Ooh. They turned to take on a Type 59, and they could have finished this off. Now I'm a one-shot, so kind of a dumb poke, to be honest. The 59 gets them busy, but I can't take advantage of it. I don't want to get killed. And then I notice they're all turned around, so maybe I can get this IS-3 in the back, or maybe in the front. There we go, so to speak. Jagdtiger PR didn't push. All right. IS-3 showed up. Old Dabby. Where's my PR? Is he dead? Oh, no, he's going up high. We're still not in a great position here. They actually, although we have one extra tank, not counting the Jagdtiger back there supporting, but he's not really in a position at the moment. We're not really in a great position to push these guys, so I'm a little wary. No, not going to get that. Maybe if I'd have come around the corner a little bit earlier, I might have been able to shoot him in the side of the turret. And I'm just asking to get killed by pushing in there. I really wish those guys hadn't pushed. We're in pretty good shape if you look at the numbers of tanks. You know, 9 to 6 is pretty nice, but the hit points aren't too far off. So we've got some low hit point guys, and I really expect to lose this 100-0-1 pretty quickly here. I'm hoping this dude maybe comes around the corner. No, he isn't. And the 112, or our IS-3, isn't interested in dying, which he's probably going to anyway. He gets missed, so that's good. He's kind of in my way. I'm like, oh, can I get this shot without dying? All right, good. We put a 401 high roll on him. Great. I like this tank. It reloads decently fast, hits okay hard, it's got good gun depression, armor's turret's good, but not great. You know, it's kind of an all-rounder heavy tank. But I'm out of here because this ain't going to go well. And I feel bad for leaving the 100-0, and then I see this guy. I'm like, where on earth did this guy come from? Thank goodness he was on a reload. Boom. And is he going to get a shot? Well, they reload pretty quickly for a two-shot autoloader. Thank goodness. That shot did not pin me, and here they come. Dang it, dang it. Thought about helping the Jagdtiger PR. Maybe we can make it happen. Is this guy looking at me? He's not. He's looking at the Jagdtiger. Can we get a free shot? There we go. And unfortunately, fortunately, the 112 bounced. Unfortunately, I bounced off the Skoda, and they've killed the PR. And honestly, if they just push hard at me, I probably don't get away. We know where all three of them are, and we have 3 tanks. We should be in pretty good shape, theoretically. Theoretically. Oh boy. Alright, so the LPZ is over there. I don't know why he's pushing in. A terrible, terrible idea. There's no reason for him to do that. The SFAC's out in the open, and I don't know why the GSOR is still sitting over there. Who knows. So now we get to the cat and mouse part, guys. We got 1,800 damage, 383 assists. We have 3 kills, and I'm just trying. I thought it was over then. They kill the Jagdtiger. That's great. The Skoda's a problem with his double barrel. I don't know why the LPZ's pushing. What do you say, dudes? I mean, what do you do? And then I'm like, well, he's full hit points. Maybe if we can sandwich him, he can do some work. And then he runs into both of them. I don't know if he thought they were chasing me. They have pretty good hit points. The 112's 100%. The Skoda is a 3-shot to me. And I just, well, there's nothing I can do. I rush down there to help. I get in there a little late. I get 1 shot of damage. They push me. I die. It's just not good. What I'm doing here now, cat and mouse. I'm trying to see which way they go. All right, they're both going that way. Does that mean they didn't head fake me and are now headed back towards this way? I don't know. But I got the best SA that I could before they went dark. So I'm thinking they might be going after this SFAC because he gets on the cap. There's no place to hide on the cap. He's a 1-shot. I had 2 choices here, guys. One was go try to support the SFAC by going around the corner there. Could have done that, but again, if they get up around the corner, I'm dead. So I'm going to go to the middle. I was really wishing he would get off the cap. This is fairly typical. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Fairly typical of TD players. And I don't know if he's a pure TD player or what, but a lot of times you'll find TD players, because they hang out in the back a lot, they end up getting towards the end of the game, but they don't really understand the end game, the cat and mouse piece. That it was a completely unsupported cap. Once the scout got by, it was fine to sit there, I think, while the scout was up there kind of lighting them and maybe getting him shots from long range. Once the scout died, if I was at SFAC, I'm going to bugger out of there. There's no way I'm staying there. No way am I going to stay there and just let them kill me. Even if you double shot one of them, you're probably not killing them. I mean, if it was a couple 1-shots, you know, maybe. And then he says, thanks, man. Dude, you made a bad move, man. You made a stupid move. Okay, when the scout was there, scout got killed, you needed to get out of there. There was no reason. Now the G-Source sort of wanders forward. And another thing to think about while you're doing the cat and mouse stuff is you kind of got to pay attention to what your teammates have been doing and who's left. I have zero faith in this G-Source. Zero. He sat at the cap the whole game. Even when he really could have brought that autoloader forward, if he'd have been with me or ran around there with the SVAC, absolute game changer of a tank. But zero faith in this guy or gal, whoever it is. They sat at the cap. I'm going to have to operate as if this person is completely useless. So far, that has been the indication. So I'm going to sit here for a second. I'm thinking, man, all right, where are they, right? So the G-Soar hasn't run into it. They didn't show up when the SVAC was alive. Now, they could have moved across the north at this point. You know, the longer it's been since someone's been lit, the further away they can be, obviously counting on the speed of their tank. So that is an old light, or a stale light, as I call it. So that SA or that intel gets worse and worse over time. And I'm like, well, man, if they both come around this corner, I'm kind of in trouble. I might be able to hit one, maybe get one more free shot, but am I going to be able to kill a full hit point guy and a 900 hit point guy? Although it looks like the Skoda took at least a hit from the SVAC. I missed that. So he's a one shot, and the 112 is a full hit point. So this is dicey. I'm just going to hope one of them comes around this corner. I see the 1000. I'm paying attention to him. Good news is I can kind of see him moving there. Oh my gosh, so lucky. I will take it. Absolutely outstanding. But now they know where I am. And I didn't stay there long enough to know if the 112 was coming. I'm getting worried. See how I just sort of made... basically, I didn't have an idea. I didn't have a plan right there. I'm like, do I run off the edge? Do I poke and see if he's there? Do I wait right here in this corner and get one shot? So I'm going to back out of this. I don't know where this 112 went. I'm really expecting him to be right behind the T-56. The other team has the same problem, right? The Skoda is probably watching this game go, what are you doing, 112? Either the 112 was with him, and why is he not pushing me? Or he haired off in some other direction. I don't know. Based on where the G-Soar went and where I was, my assumption is the 112 went all the way over to the cap, and then who knows where. So I'm kind of expecting him by the cap somewhere. So we'll come over here. The 1008. I'm like, God, maybe he's behind me. So I'm out of here. I'm just going to go this way. If he's come up to the hill looking for me, I'm going to try to be as unpredictable as possible. Although, you know, nearly anybody could kind of figure somebody might go around this lower road. I kind of, honestly, my assumption with the enemy is they're very good. My assumption with my teammates, when they show me that they're bad, is that they're very bad. That's just kind of the way you operate in this game, so you're not surprised by things that happen. So I'm assuming this guy was super smart. Eventually came up to the middle and then swung around low road down here trying to sneak around behind me, but looks like not. I'm just hoping to get a piece of him so the 1008 can finish him off with the autoloader. I don't think he has enough oomph. He might just have enough for a full hit point 112, but if I can take a shot or two off the guy, it's going to make his job much easier. So finally, we're accidentally, I think, working together right here. I didn't find the guy coming around. He's not up top. There he is. All right, so he sort of was with the T-56. And if I'm honest, I don't know how he got there without the G-Soar seeing. G-Soar maybe got up into the north part, and then that guy came up the road. I don't know. Maybe he was behind the Skoda, didn't charge me, and moved over to that side. But the 1008's taking hits. And I'm really hoping the 112 pushes him. Like, all right, this 112 is going to push because he knows he has him dead. You know why he's not pushing, probably? I think he was thinking about it, and then he stopped. Because he probably figures I'm there. That's the last place I was seen. He's going to assume, if he's doing the right thing, he's going to assume the enemy is smart and playing well. So that was actually a good move on his part. I kind of wish I'd have pushed up and over and challenged him a bit, but I was afraid I was going to take some heat to the face. I think the 112 is a heat, might be a PCR, but take some bullet to the face and he just finished me off. And the problem we have now is we are both one-shots to a 112. And that is a bummer. So he can be one-shot pretty easily. I can absolutely be one-shot. I don't even know if you can roll low enough to not kill me. You can roll low enough on a 390 to not kill a 398. But very worried about that. So I'm going to come up here while that G-Soar is about close to reload. And because he's not, good, I would say, what I would have done with that 1008 and I found the 112 is I would have charged that guy, ate a shot, and got close enough to just finish him off with 3 shots before he reloaded. And yeah, so I'm like, hey man, you gotta help me. And he says, I'll help you. I'm like, okay, great. Cat and mouse, guys. You got to make the best decisions you can with the info that you have. Assume that if your teammate proves they're not very good, that they're not going to be much help. And assume that the enemy team is good and will do the smart thing. Take those pieces of information together. Alright, let's go this way. I don't know why he continues pushing that way. You got to come with me, dude. That's the... See, once again, proving. He goes that way. And I know what's in his mind. He's thinking, oh, we'll pinch him. Well, the problem with the whole pinch thing is we're both one-shots. So if one of us gets there first, we die. By the time the other one gets there, the dude's reloaded and he has a chance to kill the other one. Very disappointing, Mr. Gisor. Very disappointing. Alright, we'll come around this way. If I can catch him here, hold down, I'm in good shape. I was really hoping he'd be right around here somewhere. I see the Gisor pushing in. I do want to be, if I can anyway, close enough that I can kind of support him if he gets seen. I'm going to have to charge hard. I don't think I'm going to get there before the guy gets 2 shots off. If he bounces the Gisor, then the Gisor probably finishes him off. I'm going to go high road here just in case. He's not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Not behind me. Interesting. Where has this 112 gone? Take a bit of a chance here that he's not sitting off to my right and just ganks me as I go across. Search around here, and he's not here, fellas. He's not here. Well, that's very interesting. Where, oh where, could the 112 be? Based on the places we went, I'm sure he went this way. Maybe he snuck around to the south. I don't think so. Possible. He could have dove off the hill, actually. Could have dove off the hill and went towards our cap, thinking maybe we'd come try to look for him there. And we are at 2 minutes, so basically I'd like to win the game. I'm just going to take a chance. I'm going to push. The Gisor's right with me. Maybe I get a lucky bounce. Maybe I get the shot off first, depending where he is. The defender typically has the advantage in these situations, at least for the first shot, because they normally have positioned themselves where they're behind a bush or they're in a corner position where they're kind of staring at where you're going to pop up, and generally they get the first shot. So you're sort of relying on your armor. Maybe the guy misses. Maybe he's not quite in the right position and you spot him, that kind of stuff. But definitely disadvantage to the guys pushing on the cap. I expected him to be here. As I pushed on the cap, I really probably should have been looking that way, to be honest with you. There's so many ways to look going on this cap. That's why it's kind of hard to cap on this map. They can be up here. They can be around this corner. They can be up on this hill. They can be all over the place in the village in the middle. They could be looking out this. Although we came from that area, you could have snuck back up in there. There's several positions up here that can see the cap. It's not easy. There's also that low road right there. So there's that low road right there, potentially. Probably not super recommended to move dead tanks. That can sometimes give stuff away, but I felt like if I blocked at least as much of the direction from the city area as I could, and then maybe if he shows up on the road over here, I could kind of swing around and hide behind the SVAC. It's actually pretty tall, so not bad cover. Of course, I'm vulnerable to behind me and over here. This guy gets on the cap. He gets as far away as possible. All right, I'll accept that. He's trying to make the distance, the view range as far as possible for him to get spotted. And when he's stopped, he actually has okay camo, even though he's out in the open. Good on him for following me onto the cap. That's the only way we were going to do it, I believe. I don't remember if I had enough time when we both jumped on. I don't think so. If I did, it was just. But we're both on, so that's nice. We'll get twice as fast on the capping. And we're going to end up capping this thing out. Still no idea where the 112 went. I'd be very interested to have known that. Hard to tell where he was, but we end up winning that game. 2,096 damage, 383 assists, and 4 kills. And some cat and mouse just talking about my thought process towards the end of that. A close game. Very nice. Very cool. That was fun. All tier 8, no artillery. Not too many auto-loader, loader, reloaders, at least that I had to deal with. There was a Progetto and a Burr. I guess I did kill the Burr. He was on a reload. But the Even 90, the Vipera, and the Skoda were not too much trouble. Skoda had a good game, as I said, 6 kills and 4,000 damage, something like that. It'll come up. Let me go take a look at the win rate. So we spawned in the south. I think that's spawn 2, I believe. Yeah, all of a sudden I'm not such a hero. Yeah, I was correct. This is one of the worst. This is on NA in the last 3 days. All right. And it's off of 15,000 games, which seems like a decent sample size. This number is so far off that I think that's still statistically significant number of battles at 15,000. So spawn 2 is the southeast corner. 55% win rate. The poor fools, the poor purple team, were given the 42% win rate side. Now that is only one factor of all the factors that go in. The relative player skills, the relative tank composition, the matchmaker. Good news is this was all tier 8. There was no artillery to kind of randomly sway. Although the game mechanics of the game do randomly sway it, but it's very random in the case of artillery. So no artillery to deal with. Tank composition was, honestly, I think a little bit in their favor, to be honest. I think they had a few better tanks like the Progetto, the Barras, the Skoda, things like that. What did we have that was good? We had the G-Sor. That's a really, really vicious burst damage tank. But we didn't really have any other burst damage other than the SVAC and, of course, the Blesk at the light tank side. They had an Even 90, a Hawk, and a 432. Those are all objectively better light tanks than ours. The light tanks on this map they're useful late game like any map. They're pretty useful on this map, but they're not super useful overall. It's hard to kind of spot and get shots with a light tank on this map that are really of a lot of use. So obviously there's a lot going on. Still, though, the difference is insane. 42 to 55%. Let's see what EU says about Pearl River. All right, EU in the last 3 days, they had 155,000. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I eat my words here. 48 to 50. Interesting. That is much closer. Much closer. So maybe my 15,000 is not a statistically valid thing. Isn't that crazy? That surprises me, to be honest with you. So there you go. Maybe if you played enough, it evens out. There's still maps, though, as you can see. What do we got here? Airfield is just horrendous on both in the last 3 days. That's very surprising, actually, Pearl River. One thing that's hard to account for between those two, EU and NA, is the play styles. They are a bit different on the two play styles. I could have swore last time I looked at Pearl River on EU, it was much worse than this. But there you go. You know, if you're wargaming and your big sample size is Pearl River, you go, yeah, that looks pretty good. Very surprised by that, actually. So there must be something maybe that we're doing. Either low sample size, happenstance, could be, or there's some way we play it that's quite different than EU that causes this problem, but that's nuts. Problem with this site is I can't find data longer than 3 days or more data than 3 days. We can go versions, we can go spawn points, we can go the different types. This is all the different kinds of gameplay, but doesn't appear to be any way to... I thought when they first brought it out that you were able to go in the last 30 days, 90 days. I really wish they would put that capability in there. So on NA, during the time I played this match, which was a day or two ago, that's what was going on NA. If you're on EU, you get a much more even situation on Pearl River. Isn't that interesting? What do you guys think? Let me know what you think the difference is there. It would be hard to, you know, I'm just spitballing BS out the cranial cavity right there, so could be just about anything, and without really digging into more data, it's hard to tell, or at least watching it for a long time, but that did surprise me right there. All right, cool. You guys have a fantastic day. Appreciate you coming by and checking it out. Wanted to talk about end game thoughts, and really those apply to just about any game or match that you have out there. When you get to those last, 5 or so, if it's an even match, which seems fairly unusual these days, but if you run into that, then there's a lot of things you need to be thinking about while you're doing the cat and mouse, trying to move around the map and deal with the last few guys. And honestly, one thing I also need to mention and think about is that one poke that lost me 4 hits. That hurt me. If I could have played the game without taking 4 shots in a row by poking out against all reloaded enemies, I'd have had many more options in game. So that does have to be mentioned. All right, you guys have a fantastic day. We will see you.